Hi, and welcome to Green Sunrise Podcast, brought to you by Paul Charlie Boy Quinn. The mission here at Green Sunrise is simple. We want to empower anyone who is living with mental health needs and step by step forward plan towards a brighter future. To improve health and mental well being, and to connect people with every service available. Our main goal is to work with individuals in a dark place, bringing them towards a lighter, brighter future. You are Green Sunrise. Welcome back to Green Sunrise. We are in the green room yet again for the second episode from the green room, and it's another episode. Now, this episode today is going to be hard to hear for some people. It's quite a heavy story, but we are going to interview Maggie today, and she has agreed to come into Green Sunrise and talk about her story. Like I say, it's going to be hard for some people to hear. But Maggie's more than willing to tell the story. She's really looking forward to this as well. And I've been speaking to Maggie for the last couple of days, and oh my God, she has a massive story. I could probably go plural here, major stories, and I'm just glad that she's willing to come into the Green Room Glasgow to talk about it. Again, so we've got with us today, we've got Ian from Baramu, and we've got Bob, who was in the last episode.
You all know Bob.
The Master Bob, and obviously we've got Maggie as well. We're going to talk about her story today. We'll get a wee recap on Bob as well. So I'll probably kick off with that, Bob. How have you been since the last episode?
See what I said the last time about when I was doing this show. And Maggie could identify with this. I says I'd be done in a couple of days after this. Mate, you don't realise it when you're bringing that emotion up, the things you can't physically do it. There are things that go cold to you. That's a trigger. That's when you know this, bag. It's a trigger. Well, I was done in. I was sapped. You felt as if I'd run a marathon. Do you know what I mean? But the other side of that, like you take the medication, all this, and everything else. See the thing that got me out of that, and it was a quick slip into it. Was when it was edited and you put it through to me.
Yeah.
Mate, I was watching that and Big Dafty with the pink hooders sitting talking right as you see it, but it was somebody else telling me a story, and I resonated with everything that guy, who was obviously me, was telling me. That picked me up, because all I have been doing, I shared this to you, ladies, to get an understanding of that BPD, the UPD, the ladies got the BPD thing and all that. The learning thing was I have done nothing but absorb myself in YouTube. Not so much what the healthcare professionals were talking about, more so about me, yourselves, your own personal testimony of how it affects you. I have picked so much off of that. That again is a version of this. Yeah. If that was on that media platform there, like this has been in Well, we're sitting at 370 on.
Aye, so that, I'm just about to say that. So we're sitting at 307 views or something as of today, and we've got 29 subscribers. So my subscribers list is like more than doubled because I've only just started with obviously YouTube. So would anybody watching this please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to build this community, not just a channel. We're building a community. Green Sunrise is collaborative thoughts, connection with people. We speak about loneliness, which we're going to cover today as well. And the fact that there's people out there who are in a dark place. The whole point of Green Sunrise was to pull people at a dark place and collaborate with ideas and connect and obviously help each other out. And when we do that, these things, you can only have positive things from that. Ian, what about yourself? What did you make of the first?
I wanted to say I do remember checking up on you, Bob, after that chat, and I'm glad to hear that. It ties into what we're saying, that talking is therapy, and you watching the conversation back helped you, and that's what we're trying to do. Like talking today, it's Maggie's turn, and leaving episodes online, which is a great thing. It's a great tool, podcasting, and to be able to watch them back and take whatever you can from it. That's amazing. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
See, the funny thing about it, it was me that was talking, right? We were present where they knew, and you'll get this. I know you will, though. That I was listening to like somebody I was watching on YouTube, if you know what I mean. I was listening to a stranger.
Yeah.
It was me, it was my voice, but everything they were talking about, I was processing it better. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Well, am I? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it sounds daft, but everything that I heard there, and this is what I hope more so with the feedback for what we done. The feedback it's got to come for the day. That I hoped it was one person that listened. I listened. It was me speaking. It's not you play. I've listened to it a dozen times now, mate, and it's like watching a movie again. Your favourite movie, you always keep getting another wee bit for it. And it struck a chord with me. It took me about 4th or 5th time to watch it. That actually it raised a tear in me. I've no regret for months. And I thought, wow. And then I could trace back to a scene where trauma was in my childhood. I seen it, I spoke about the good upbringing and stuff like that, but you could actually see the emotional side of that that it has. We Magic Maggie and I spoke about earlier on there, the last hour or so. That is your trigger. That is the thing. You don't notice it because you're living at a time when it's not till you get to this stage to mate, you just fall apart and stuff that you see it. But I tell you, there's powerful stuff coming today here. I've not any apprehension about it. It's going to be stuff that we're all going to get upset about. But the message that that's going to put out today is just an extension of mental health as well. Isn't it?
I think, and Maggie won't mind me saying, before we came in, there was tears before we came in, darling, wasn't there?
No, there was.
So you've been very nervous about this, but what I said to you, we don't need to do this. We can just keep it as, we can build up to it. But you want to tell your story, don't you?
No, I was really excited to be asked, actually, and quite grateful for it. I'm a nervous person, obviously, but there's so much to tell that I think, not even just targeting one audience, it's targeting so many because there's so much, like, so different medical stuff, just there's a lot that's happened. There's a lot.
So I suppose now we said we'd start light, didn't we? We'll talk about we'll start with, now you've got 3 kids, you're 29-year-old girl from Howtown, you've got a story to tell, but one of the things you were telling me when we were talking the last couple of days, you have a wee friend called Stormy.
Yes.
Right, so can you explain who Stormy is?
Stormy is my bearded dragon, who is about 18 inches right now, and she's only 2.
So you're joking, I had one of them.
No, this is my second one.
Joking, man.
No, but this one's going to outlive me this time, so I'll need somebody.
Man, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy.
So if you want to...
Mate, honestly, you know what it used to do? You used to crawl on the air, mate. See when I shaved, like this morning, it used to sit in my head because of the heat, didn't it?
She doesn't go in her tank, she'll sleep under my neck.
And it spreads out. Somebody says, is that your hair? I said, mate, that grab you still like my heating. Do you know what I mean? It just spreads out for heat, but I'm a blade, she was called on.
So we Stormy, but you had a wee bearded dragon before that. What was the name of that one?
Spike.
Spike, so Spike.
So this one's a female.
So how long have you had that for? How long have you had her for, sorry?
I got her just once I got out the beating.
Right, okay.
I think it was more for company as well.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
in the house all
Yeah.
all the time
Yeah.
myself. So
What you feeding her all the locusts?
well, she has lettuce and stuff like that, and her crickets are just a treat. But
I need to jump into a wee story here, right? I might get crucified. I'm the person, right, that when I was in Edinburgh helping my wee mate at a dentist, went into Pets at Home to sell the locusts. So she was big at the time, so I thought I'll feed her the big locusts. So I'm a wee bit of bugger, I can't help it. You know, we spoke about this impulsivity and that madness. So we stopped at the Marks and Spencer's petrol station across the road for Ingleson. Do you know that? And there might be controversy. If you come to my door, I'm the guy that done it now, right? I've nothing to lose. I put one in my phone, I put one in the hand, me and my wee mate, right? My wee mate Tam, and he's like, go and do it. So we goes up, and it was a fresh foot,
Oh no.
Mate, I did, honestly. Could you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody stopping in there to grab the last bit of SEGs for the pasta dish or the soup, mate? Do you know, there's bouncing about as this big locust. Honestly, mate, it's terrible what I've done, mate, but I can't help it. Do you know what I mean? But I know, mate, I just had to feed her a coffee or something like that. And she was
But you said that you need to watch because they end up having diarrhea.
diarrhea, aye, too many crickets and they just shit everywhere. And see, especially because she doesn't sleep in her tank.
Oh, no.
She doesn't get too many
You
crickets.
don't want bits of diarrhea in their neck,
I
darling.
don't know, man.
No, I
Guilty
don't.
had it, you know, it's like, you know.
Right. So tell me, right, wait, can you tell me a wee bit about your growing up and stuff like that? Whereabouts? Obviously from Holy Town. Have you been Holy Town your whole life?
I stayed in Larkhall as well. Stayed in Sight Hill a while as
All
well.
right.
And then back to Hollowtown, like still Motherwell area.
Aye.
I don't know.
How did you find it? Because you've always been there, I suppose.
I've always been.
Nothing
Aye,
to
and
change.
everybody knows everybody there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But sometimes that's not necessarily a good time.
Aye.
Like everybody
No, it
ends
isn't
up finding
fun,
out your
no.
business. Do you know what I mean?
We get brought
Aye.
up a male feature in that village mentality thing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Spoke about that, see if you have a cold at one end of the street, see if you can't get started.
It's screw arms and legs, isn't it, the story?
Your deed being pneumonia.
Aye.
Aye.
I did. You walk into the
Aye,
baker, I walked into the baker's 3
Chinese-
years ago.
Chinese whispers.
Hadn't been in there for 6 years. She walked in, she's, oh, how you doing, Bob? I thought you were dead. I went, surprise. That's what it's like, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
So all right, tell me about your kids then. Is that okay to ask?
I'd rather know.
No, that's fine.
Is that right?
No, that's
Just
fine, of
'cause-
course. No, that's fine. No, I didn't know, that's fine. But like I say, and we can edit it out, no worries at all. Right, so where are you just now? What's happening in your life? Tell me which story. Where do you want to start the story?
I
I know you said to me, God,
don't even know
it's
where
like
to
opening
begin.
a tin of beans, right? Just
You
go
know,
with the flow.
today, Maggie, what we spoke about, pal, it doesn't come out in any order in my head. So this is just about where you were at, where you've been at, we spoke about, you know, you've this BPD thing, we've got similarity and the psychosis thing, all that madness it gets to you. But that's you. That's who you have turned into. Do you know what I mean? In a good way.
Well, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression for the age of 12. Put on Prozac at 13. And since then, I was always on antidepressants and anxiety medication. But it wasn't until about 5 years ago now, that I was diagnosed with the BPD schizophrenia. They said that had went undiagnosed for quite some time.
See if it to get picked up with that at such a young age, which is really alarming. Obviously, for traumatic events and stuff. And then something in that service is something's been missing and lacked in it. Do you find that almost 10-year gap or more to get to that stage? I know that it's new to people and stuff. It was new to me, but
Were you getting the answers? The answers that you wanted straight away? Or was it taking a wee while?
It was. I've had a psychiatrist for the age of 12.
Right.
But I got a new CPN, and it was actually her that had diagnosed me with BPD. But before that, I had felt extremely unwell, and I knew it wasn't right. Just like hallucinations, like hearing stuff. I think the CIA and stuff are following me.
Yeah.
As I've said, I can laugh about it now, but that day, I 100% believed it. I phoned my nana crying, like, CIA is following me. I parked at Lidl's, and I did not move there for for 2 hours.
Mhm.
So it was a build up of stuff, and then the hallucinations get really, really bad, and that's when I phoned my psychiatrist, and I was like, I need to get into hospital. I'm like, I'm really not well. I
Mhm.
says there's something really, really wrong. And that's when I was first put into Ward 1. And she came out and visited me and stuff, and that's when I was diagnosed with the BPD and schizophrenia.
Right. Yeah.
So, but as soon as we got like the medication stuff sorted out, I was able to manage that.
Mhm.
Like, not every day was a great day. It's never going to be like that.
No, especially with BPT, of course.
But I found what they were giving me was far too high a dose as well. Like with the quetiapine, which is obviously an antipsychotic.
So sorry, what's that again? What's that called?
Quetiapine.
Quetiapine. Do you know that, Bob?
Yeah, I was on that, no, mate.
Were you not as well?
Didn't like it. Didn't agree with Bob at all, mate. I was on that olanzapine in the hospital back in June and on.
I'm on the mirtazapine as well.
I came off that though. I think my body grew out the tolerance yet. I was the other drug that quetiapine, the olanzapine, I thought was making me worse. I thought it was making me my hallucinative states. Come on.
I thought as well, because they had me away up at 600 milligrams a day.
Well, damn it.
No, I couldn't, like, I took it see, they've tried to build up, but see, even with 100 milligrams, I felt like a zombie. So what I done was for years, and I've only just recently found out that I've been taking 100 milligram, like 50 in the morning, 50 at night, rather than taking the full 600.
And how have you found that?
I've managed it myself. That's what I mean. I feel like
I've come off it. I've come down off my venlafaxine. I'm saying this on here without my GP because I asked my psychologist, "Oh, you know about this?" That says I'm up my meds change. I talked about this the last time. So that pig-headed it to me. Says, "No, I'm coming down because I'm taking something that I didn't think is working." You think your meds isn't working? That's actually when it is working. But my mood's worse. The auditory stuff, the visual stuff, you see, you hear, the moods jumping up and down, and all that stuff wasn't working. So I'm trying to prove a point to go back and say, look, it's not working, but I'm not going against you. I've asked you to work with me on this.
Yeah.
It's a lottery, the medication, isn't it? That's some it works, some it doesn't.
That's a thing. So were you aware of the fact that you had to work with them, or were you able to work with them? Was it a case of that?
I didn't work with like my GPs or anything because I have no faith in my own GP, and they know that. That's how they don't even deal with me. They'll send that nurse.
What experiences caused that? Why you with your GP that breakdown in relationship with you?
My mum first, and then obviously me with the cancer. Because I tried to phone them every day, but I was in Wishy General as well for the first 3 months. My body was telling me that it was cervical cancer, but they weren't believing me. They were laughing in my face when I was saying that.
Yeah.
No, they scanned me as well to see where my coil was, but my body as well was going into labour every day. And they couldn't figure it out, but they kept discharging me. 10 times they discharged me, and every time I kept walking right back round to A&E.
And you're doing everything but screamed in your ears to them to tell them.
So it was a doctor that went to take my coil out. That she couldn't tell me at the time, but it was 2 weeks after that she took a biopsy, and it was her that came and told me that I had cervical cancer. And she said that when she went to take my coil out, that she could see the cancer growing out the way. She looked back on the scans that were took to see where my coil was, and she says that the tumours were unmissable.
So anger sets in, didn't it?
It did, aye. It really did, because they let my mum down first.
Yeah, of course.
And now they've let me down.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know, you said that there, is it Rose and me? To get you screaming down their face, you're presenting all the time, you're on the phone all the time, you know. What does it take? I know my own body, I know my own health to a degree. I'm not a camera that can see inside me. But you knew, didn't you?
I
you
just knew.
And you were doing everything but putting a viral marker on it, saying that's what's wrong.
You know, I was telling them it was like contractions as well that I was having. So my body was in labour every day. They were having to just fill me right up with morphine. They were doing that for a week and then try to discharge me. But I wasn't having it, because as soon as I was let go, I was just walking right back down to A&E, because I knew there was something seriously wrong.
But see, the morphine does help with the pain, right? I've been on it. But what it does is, I don't like things that because it inhibits. I can't judge myself, if you know what I mean. you can't judge your pain. So if you're out your facing quetiapine or the meds or something like that, or olanzapine or something that inhibits the way you think.
See, that's what they'll say to me though, that I've got a really high tolerance, like for
Aye,
everything.
same though,
Like they'll
same.
say that they've given me enough to knock an elephant out, but I'll still be sitting there wide awake.
Thanks for that, bro. Mate, I get that. I'm going to get 3 jags at a dentist. I'm going to get 3 local anaesthetics. It's just maybe, I don't know if it's that the way your emotions work to that tolerance, because we spoke about it earlier on. I asked you, I wanted to know if you had that. Did you have that lack of fear? If you know what I mean, that emotion of fear wasn't there for you at a young age? Because I just want to know if it wasn't just me.
No, I've put myself, and that's what I learned as well. Once I was diagnosed with the BPD, that I would put myself in either really toxic or dangerous situations. And I don't know if it was for a thrill or... I actually think it was for a thrill. But I had no fear. I had no fear of dying until I was diagnosed with cancer.
Do you think that, we're looking at that, do you think that's that link, that neurological link that your body's built that resistance up to pain?
Probably.
Not just physical pain, it's I say they're not physically, emotionally, can hurt me anywhere. Do you know what I mean though?
Just to jump in here a little bit, and this is just my thoughts, no anything that I've learned or that, but I often think that like the adrenaline rush that you've often spoke about you need to seek, and you've just touched on there, would it be, and I'm just guessing here because I reckon your backgrounds and that, but see, like when you're young and you're seeing crazy behaviour in the home or even out with the home, that your friends and family and that you believe that's normal behaviour. If your mum and dad's fighting all the time, you think that is normal. So when you get older, you're always seeking arguments, toxic behaviour, thrills, rushes.
The monkeys.
That you're seeing that as normal, and normal life is boring.
But I've when I was growing up, I never seen what that life was different. You just went, mate, you were done what you were told, you never stepped out of line, the behaviour that we spoke about, that madness, I didn't think it was any different. You're seeing that crazy edge on you.
Aye, like I seen a lot for a very young age. I mean, my mum and dad were both on drugs at the time. They were really young when they had me as well. My mum was only 16. But so my nana brought me up for quite a period of time. And she had to put up with a lot of shit. And I think that is what it is. Like, I don't know. Like, I've got abandonment issues and all that, which I found out about, which is another symptom of me. Like, I would cause problems in past relationships before anything could happen. I think it was like a way to protect myself, type of thing, before anything could, you know, like anybody could abandon me or hurt me. I just put up this wall and then lock everybody out.
Let's go back a wee bit for a wee tiny bit. So, see when you, how long was the diagnosis from when you actually got the diagnosis of BPD and schizophrenia, right? When did you actually find out that you had cervical cancer?
I found that out in January.
So how long was that from the time from when you?
4 years.
Was it 4 years? But you knew, you thought you had it before that? You had cancer before that?
So I went for my smear test.
The smear test?
And it came back with abnormal cells.
Right.
So it was meant to be followed up with a biopsy. Nothing came in, like a letter or anything. So I would phone my doctor. We'll send you one out. Right, okay. Second time I phoned, said the same. Third time I phoned, and that was the final time I phoned, because I was like, there must not be much wrong if they're no like taking this further.
Yeah.
So it was about a year after that when I ended up in the serious pain that I was, and I knew what it was straight away.
Maggie, see the, you want to be greeting here, man. See the thing that we spoke about just with your diagnosis, how your emotions deal with things. Any news that we get, do you know what I mean? Obviously, even before you came here the day in the run up to this last night, and everything going through your head, what we're speaking about, we're not speaking about all that stuff, the nerves and everything else. It's about you, it's true life, it's us we speak about. We can't lie what's happened to us still. But I know that how hard it is for me to deal with simple wee things that set my triggers off. The story that you divulged to me this morning, whatever you're going to speak about in the next hour or so, how are you dealing with that? How's your BP dealing with that, though?
Some days it doesn't.
Oh, mate.
But everybody will say, I don't understand how you're dealing with it so well. And the thing is, I don't think I'm a, because I don't think I believe it myself yet.
So do you think you're putting a face on?
Oh, I all the time.
Aye, okay.
The mask.
It'll just roll off the tongue and everybody will be
Aye.
like that. Like, see, especially because it wasn't found till stage 3, everybody will tiptoe on about the question, but everybody wants to know,
Yeah.
how long have you got?
Yeah.
And I make jokes and all that, like my fucking bearded dragon's got to outlive me and stuff.
Aye.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how else to
No,
like
you
deal
don't.
with
Well,
set with comedy in
That's
front
the
of other
protective
people.
thing, no, you protect yourself, your sense of humour.
But when I'm myself, I'm just really, really low. I'll turn off my phone. I don't want to speak to MD.
Yeah.
I'll just
So when I contacted you, I didn't know anything about your story, right? And so I was going through my Facebook and I thought, and I just came across your posts, and it was all like positive posts, and it was all the kind of posts that I would kind of do on Facebook. And I said, there's something about this. I said, I'm going to ask you if you wanted to come on the podcast. I actually wanted you to come on as a co-host, like just to join it, like Bob and Ian. I thought, I'll just ask her to come on. She said, is this because you said to me, is it because I've got cervical? I said, no, I didn't even know. And then when I looked in, so I read the article that was on the Daily Record of this year. It was March of this year, wasn't it?
yeah.
And I was like, wow, I just didn't know. So DAPI has been involved with, obviously, with the big, massive donations and stuff like that. So can you tell me a wee bit about that?
I've loved I started loving End Up Thank You. I was like age 13.
Aye.
And then when I properly met him the first time, I think that was about 6 years ago. And then every year since,
That's broke camera.
and we would message back and forward, and you know, he's such a incredibly talented but so humble guy, like such a humble guy.
Aye.
And then actually I was down at London a couple of weeks ago, videoing for his new song that's out, Lingo.
Yeah, Lingo.
And it was crazy because I was lining up fans and stuff like that, and then I was with his personal assistant round the back at the secret location. And in outside, I need to remain like all cool and calm. But inside, I'm fucking screaming like that 13-year-old wee lassie still. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy. But he just donated. He found out what had happened, and he donated towards the RSO oil.
Wow.
RSO oil. Is it Rick Simpson oil or something like that? Is that what it's called?
Aye.
The Rick Simpson oil.
It's incredibly strong.
Yep.
But I've read loads of positive reviews about it and stuff. Even people for the beats in, like doctors and nurses, were really interested about it.
This was new to me to you sent me
To the article, that's
initially
right.
about your own story. Maggie and Assie's Paul sent me a wee link so that I'm kind of trying to get up to speed with that. Well, it's something new. They don't want to sign off on it, didn't they? No.
Oh,
But
no.
Can you tell me, from your point of view, what with the knowledge you know about it before I dive in more to it?
It's extracted through the root of the cannabis plant, right? It's like tar, basically, and you're meant to build up like a tolerance for it because it is like so strong. But it would help. It helps with stuff like you see, like dementia or psoriasis. I think there's nothing that it doesn't help with. Do you know what I mean? Like my papa's had been going to the hospital for like laser treatment and that because his psoriasis was that bad. I rubbed some of it on with like plain cream, rubbed it, mixed it in together. I put it on his hands and see the next day, like they were nowhere near as red or itchy
Aye.
and bleeding and stuff like that.
So it's like a kind of miracle, kind of.
Aye, it does.
But all medicine, the oranges, it all derives from plants, doesn't it?
Aye, of course.
Everything that comes to that. But again, it's what we spoke about mind in the cafe there, about your cancer. And I see there is a cure for cancer. People might be listening to this, it works with this, right? And I'm just putting out there, and you agreed with me, darling, that we spoke about this last time, mate, innit? There's more money in prevention than there is in cure. But you're talking about somebody's life here.
No.
Do you know what I mean, darling? You're a mum. You're only young. You've got it all in front of you, and you're sitting people balancing up a budget against that.
Yeah.
You could be the breakthrough. There could be something in your genetic, biological makeup that could be the answer. Do you know what I mean? Mate, we could get into this for hours, man. It's just,
no. That's my neck of the
but
woods.
when you're
that stuff.
sitting with it, you're sitting living it, and you're sitting with yourself in the room, it's just you've got the anger and it comes to the top of it, but that's not going to cure anything. It's not going to cure anything. And See when Paul came the other day there, Wee Magic, I've nicknamed you Wee Magic Maggie because you're amazing. You don't even know it, pal, that you can get to here today, pal. That I says to you, I says, don't you get into this? And you says, it's not curable. We don't know when the medicine's going to be in a year's time. We don't know what people's attitudes are going to change in a year's time.
Yeah.
But you, for what you've personally told me just this morning, Alondal, if you can stand, I told you outside that, the full 5 feet to you, the nonsense of you, that you're still standing up tall. See the times that we've both crumbled, we've all crumbled mind, and you thought, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just taking the easy road out. That people don't understand it, but that thought of suicide, you think I'm getting out of here. That for everything you've come through, the admiration that I've got for somebody that's been in that position quite a lot of times, that I'm doing alright, pal. That when I see Wee Magic Maggie standing up tall in front of me today, and it's not the medicine that's doing that, it's you. It's
No, I totally
willpower that
agree.
you've got to come over that adversity of everything. Because let's take away the cancer now. Without that there, which is put affecting your life, that what you've came through now, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that now, you know and I know you shouldn't have been here. We know that. We can easily hit that self-destruct button, but you're here. That adversity alone and that sheer willpower as a human being, the survival instinct it's we know it.
Yeah.
It just, that message to everybody today is wow, man, it's just breathtaking, pal. And you've got to take on board how far you've gone at, your resilience and your strength. And it's hard for people, isn't it, to understand what you've came through.
Aye, because there's like far too much to tell by all the details, but there is a lot. But
100 more episodes if you want them.
So what would you say? What's your go-to? So can you explain a wee bit about your daily habits and what gets you through?
Well, up until like 3 months ago, I was still bedridden, even after I got out of the beating.
Right.
So I still couldn't really move out of bed or anything unless it was for the toilet, and even then it was directly across from my room. And it was, so I've had to do that myself because I feel like once I got out, I was basically just left there just to get on with it.
Yeah.
And so I've done it myself.
Was there any kind of support, the extra support that you can point out?
Only until a couple of weeks ago when I was back in Ward 1 again.
Right.
I just wasn't feeling good.
Maggie, was there any follow-up care? Was there any nurses coming to see people?
Nope.
Is that, I don't know, I'm ignorant to this, there's some things that's called as a package of care and stuff like that. Was that no put place for you that, like, I don't know, I'm ignorant to this, that through the cancer thing that there's nurses come in, there's specialist community nurses or something comes in?
Yeah, like a follow-up.
Well, that's what you think, especially because, see, while I was in the beats and all that time, I needed blood every day, I needed fluids every day, because I'm anemic as well, so my blood's already like really low iron and stuff. So even since I've been released for the beating, I've ended up in Wishaw like so many times. Like even, I was only in there last week, and that was because my bladder's 3 times the size what it should be, which has been caused by the radiotherapy as well. So there's all these side effects and stuff, but it was only until I was in last week where I said, like, obviously I have no support. They said that they were going to reach out to St Maggie's to contact me.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if they actually do, because I don't believe a word Wishaw General says, to be honest.
Have you heard the Joe's thingy? So Joe's is about cervical cancer and stuff like that, but supposedly, so I found this off a nurse that I was talking to, and she said that Joe's is a really good app, but it's a really good organisation. So obviously I'll put you in touch with that anyway, but I just thought that you would have these, or have all this different people to go to support you.
Who's Rudy?
Just me.
Just yourself.
And you're at this, I don't know, earlier stages at this year, and you've gone through all that, and you come back in the house and it's a marathon just to get to the toilet, Mark. The size of you, you're tiny. And district nurses are about the street all the time, aren't they? You always seen them about the time. Is this doing the money or something? What's going on here?
It's something that I mean, this could go easily into me ranting about the NHS and all this stuff. We all could do it. Like,
Yeah,
we've all been
of course.
touched by it. I've got a little story to tell. My granddad, who's like my dad, I was brought up by my grandparents as well. He was diagnosed with cancer in 2017 in the November and passed away in the April. It just ravished him. And he was a big guy and he was like a rake. But he gave up. And that's something I want to say. Your outset, your look on life, your positivity might just help you again, because I've heard that as well. The power of the mind.
Power of the brain,
But he
yeah.
just gave up. He wasn't eating. We would put meals doing to him and he would just look at it and give up and go through, sit in his chair. And to me, I think that sped up the process. I know a lot of people believe in that, but it's easy to bash on the NHS, and I do it all the time on my podcast. I talk about them all the time. I think but we also need to say there are people doing their job, but that's exactly what they're doing. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do. They're following protocols, they're being told what to do, and their hands are tied, maybe. So,
but you train for 7 years or so on to be a GP or a surgeon or you know what I mean, specialist.
Yeah.
You do your 4 years, 5 years, I think it is, with the degree to do your nurses. How many nurses in that years have left the NHS because they're not getting a chance to do their jobs? That's what they trained for. There is a level of these people that's tied with funding, right, at that level. But come on here, we're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about the public are quick enough to put a pound in it. The cancer dishes, we all do runs for it, we all do sponsorship for it. But they're happy with you doing that, innit? The more you feed into it.
I think a huge problem for me as well was before my diagnosis, it's like every day there would be 2 different doctors. So you would have to retell all your symptoms right through to the start. And then the next day it'd be 2 different other doctors. And I'm like, I'm having to go through all this again. And it's like there's no communication at all.
You'd have preferred that you're one CPN, you're one doctor, you're one cancer specialist to build a rapport up with. You've got to feel comfortable with them. You're handing yourself over to them, ain't you?
That's how my CPN done a lot more for me than what anybody else did.
Fair play to them for that.
Do you know what I mean? But they're not consistent, and that's what they were saying as well. There I waited 5 months for a hormone tablet because obviously some of the procedures I've had have caused me to go through early menopause. So I've been going on at them about a hormone tablet, and there's Wishy General saying, no, the beats no get yet. The beats are saying, no, Wishy General get yet. Then they're saying, no, your doctor will get. So it's gone between the 3 of them. Aye, and I'm like, you see, just it wasn't till there when I was back in Wishy General. I says, I'm not leaving here if it because I couldn't sleep. I was sweating.
Good for you, pal.
Do you know what I mean?
For saying that.
And that's when I finally got it. And sometimes no matter, I don't know. I don't think there's people there doing that job for the right reasons.
Maggie, I just picked up on something here, and you'll all agree with this. Do you think sometimes that as a culture we don't shout loud enough? You just sit back and listen because you're handing yourself out to these people.
Well, I think the louder you shout, the more you look like a maniac.
That's what way I was put, because I screamed last week and I says I need to shave my fucking hair and eyebrows off before you treat me like a cancer patient.
Yeah.
And they just all stood and looked at each other and had nothing to say.
But that's how you're feeling inside. All you you're pardon the pun, but you
I can go from 0 to 100, like 100 really quick. But I think it's because with that hospital, because they let me down so badly, I don't even want to be put there. But that's where I'm taken to because it's the closest one to me.
Yeah.
Unless I'm an inpatient at the Beatson, then that's the only way I'll really get to the Beatson.
You had mentioned, Paul says to you earlier, prior to meeting you, I asked you this morning, how many times was it that you had presented yourself to them, pal, before that?
So they kept discharging you, didn't they?
Aye.
How many times was that? 7 times or something like you said to me?
I think it was around about 10. But
10?
Out of the 3 that I did go home, but this other 7, I walked right back round to A&E.
And you were in constantly telling them the exact same thing, how your body was feeling?
Contractions, it was like labour every day because my tumours were that big, they were crushing my uterus. So my uterus thought it was in labour. It was contracting.
Is there no process of elimination goes on here? That you do this, you test, you rule it out, you do the next thing, you rule it out?
I was even before that, like the year before that, I was telling them how much blood loss I had. Like I was bleeding through 2 big maxi pads right through my clothes and everything. So I couldn't even go out anymore because of how bad the blood was and the size of the clots and stuff. And my GP, oh, I don't know what that could be. I'm saying, I fucking know what it is. How do you know? Do you know what I mean? So I felt like I wasn't listened to. They're saying that because of I wasn't invited back for a biopsy, I was lost in the system due to COVID. I don't know how much longer they can keep blaming COVID.
Yeah, they want to, pal. They want to put it on something else.
But for them, they'll not get. See, when they go home, they don't even think about me when they go home.
No,
I've got 3 kids that I need to think about. Now I'm thinking about who's going to look after them. I'm going to miss everything. I'm going to miss them growing up. Do you know what I mean?
There is good, really good doctors. There is really good nurses. You're living with them in the beating.
Oh,
you see these nurses in here, and we can speak in general about most nurses here. And there is good GPs. There is good surgeons. But that's down to being a compassionate human being, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I think. Can you tell me about the beating? Obviously, how the beating was, but obviously the nurses and doctors. How were they?
They were totally amazing.
Were they?
Aye, I mean, even like there's people that volunteer there as well that even after your treatment and chemo and stuff, they'll come up and give you a massage or do your hair. Like if you still have it, they'll make wigs and stuff as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like while I was in there, I actually applied for my nursing course. I gave them my opening statement. I told them where I was. I told them what cancer I had and all that, and I got accepted. My health took a dip, so I couldn't. But see, when I phoned them crying, saying that I basically couldn't make it, they told me that they would keep my place on for next year.
Wow.
And this, Maggie, is obviously because you were sitting here and living that experience.
It's living.
And you watched the difference you were making with you. You thought, no, I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that Ian's talked about, that you've not gave up. They've told you what you've got. What is this? It's terminal. It's going to be terminal.
Aye.
But there's testimonies in this worldwide that people have switched themselves onto this in the mind. Right, we'll just put it out. It's healed this. Yeah. The attitude that I've met with you for 3-4 hours ago, we physically met, pal, is blew me away. That I know how much. I know when people and other people deal with things on a personal basis have to all that behaviour. What you've got, pal, is that it's a hat after that I'm not writing you off. I'm not writing you after, and the doctors, the GPs, the surgeons and all this shouldn't, because see the nurses that's in the beating, pal. It's not. I'll tell you. I hope they all respond to this. It's not about money with them.
No, it's not. No, it's they actually care. I mean, there was one nurse one night, because I was in. This was before my procedures. I was still in that like labour pain, and she was crying to me. She says, "I feel like I'm not helping you. I feel like there's nothing I can do for you." And it was the way they were that made me just wish I was doing that type of job. I wouldn't even want paid for it.
Maybe you said so. Me and you spoke about it. So you did tell me you were helping out. Was this in the beating that you were helping out? Was this the other?
No, this was at Wishaw. Aye.
So you were helping out because you seen gaps for it. For example, right? So those people weren't being tended to, and you actually went to tend as a patient. You went into the ward and you tended to them.
Aye.
Can you tell me a wee bit about that?
There was an older guy called Benny who clearly needed a carer. I mean, I was making his tea, his breakfast, helping him get dressed, his shoe, everything. And I took him under my wing and I just looked after him. And it's like the nurses knew. They would say to me, "Oh, this is the type of job you should be in." And I was thinking to myself, "You fucking should do." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think they're understaffed?
Oh, I don't even think that. I think some of them in there just cannot be bothered. And some of them do. Don't get me wrong, there is some of them who really want help. But there was also a complaint I put in as well, because there was a man who they kept in the room the full time. He didn't get out to the day room or anything. He couldn't walk. So they left him sitting in his chair. Now, his door was open. He flung his water, right? But it was out of pure anger, right?
Of course.
So I heard the nurse saying to him, "You're a fucking animal. You're a horrible, horrible man." So I walked right into that room. I says, "Don't you fucking speak to him like that." I says, "If you don't want to do this job," I says, "you don't do it." I says, "Get the fuck out of my way." I took over. Wow. I sat that man back down in his chair, because she had told the nurse to leave him standing, holding onto the table, you know? Okay. And I was, that's not happening. So I helped him back down onto his chair and I cuddled him. And he burst out crying. He went, "I've not had a hug since I've been in here." And do you know, that's all I needed. see, just to be spoken to like a human being.
Aye,
Like
no
there's so
statistic.
aye, like there's so many people that think they think you were one, they think like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Do you know what I mean? And it's not. It's like there's so many normal people there. I mean, I was in there and it kept keep myself busy. I would help every day. 3 people actually left when I discharged myself because they didn't feel that they would cope if I wasn't there. So a lot of them I keep in touch with as well.
See, when you discharged yourself, was it out of the fact that you weren't getting... Why did you discharge yourself?
I discharged myself because I'll tell you the real reason. This one lady came in and she actually scared me. No many people scared me, right?
No.
So, but what she'd said was when somebody had mentioned about my cancer, she went, "Oh, I wish I had the worst fucking cancer in the world." And I was like, "I need to go, or else I'm going to murder
you
her."
need to bite
Right?
you need to bite your tongue.
I had to leave because my temper can go for
0 to 100.
aye. So I had to leave. Aye. But see, even though I was in a couple of weeks ago at Wishaw with my bladder, obviously the issues with my bladder, I was still going down to Ward 1 and visiting everybody and talking to them.
Aye.
And I mean, I could hardly walk back like
But
2 weeks ago.
You automatically have done that unconsciously straight away.
Oh, I feel like, I think I've always been the type of person I think they can fix people or want to help everybody. I think.
But you think, I can relate to that there's that bit in your subconscious that does that because you find at one point that you felt as if you were left.
Oh, aye.
You didn't matter. Nobody noticed me.
Aye. No help. Aye.
No.
Because there was a young lassie who I'd only known like a day and a half before I discharged myself. And I could see that she was a self-harmer, which I had been through for the age, I told you I had a young age, like 8, I think.
Yeah.
So I just, she wouldn't speak to him or anything. That day I just took her away and spoke to her. Then when I was feeding Benny his breakfast, that was the older guy, I turned round, like my leg will do that, like when I'm nervous or anxious. But see, when I done that, I turned round and I seen her leg was doing that.
Right.
So it's as if I just sensed it.
So
And I
you
took her
could sense it in the room.
into her room, and she only knew me that day and a half, and she was crying when I was leaving. She didn't want me to leave. Like she said as well, that she didn't think she would cope if I wasn't there. But that 2 weeks after that, when I was took back in myself, I dragged myself back down to Ward 1 and visited her. And see, when I walked in, she burst out crying and just hugged me.
Darling.
Do you know what I mean?
That I'll go back to shows the strength of your willpower and character, Paul, because you explained here 15 minutes ago the effort it was when you were coming to the hospital to get yourself even to the bathroom, which is free here to that bit of the room. Yet when you were in that environment, it's that I can't leave that person feeling like that. You see that I dragged myself.
No.
None of us in this room will know, except you, Paul, what it's took for you to do that. Because you wouldn't want to be that person sitting there with nobody.
No.
The sad thing about this, Paul, is the nurses in your ward, the ones that do so much, to an extent, must get so frustrated with the rest of the nursing staff in the NHS that they must think, can you not just let me do my job here? Waiting times, ambulances sitting for 6-7 hours when they know that they could rattle through 50-60 patients in an hour. You're not sitting there. You're going down and doing that job, and you're unconsciously taking a burden off of the nursing staff there. They just thought, you're going through what you're going through, emotionally faced what you've had to face with the reality. Yet you just put yourself aside, didn't you? And go down to make sure that somebody else just forgetting that cuddle.
Aye.
It means the world to that person. And he'll never forget you for that. He'll never do.
No, he actually thought I was a nurse.
Yep.
So he did. He thought I was a nurse. He asked me, because the next day when I was going back in and checking him, he said to me, "You're a nurse, aren't you?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm a patient." Me, and
wow.
I was like, "No, I'm a patient."
You do. I get that for you. I can feel it, can't you? You feel like...
But Maggie says there's one of you says it with Magic when we got to your house this morning, get you mind? You walked out the door. He's done and he shows her the badge. It was like us. The lassie's 2 doors in thought you were Police Scotland. And there she's at to carry on again, you know what I mean?
I still know what I said that. It's because the police have been here so many times.
They've got a house across the road, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? She's like invited to one of their weddings, have been there that much. But you can walk out the door and the first thing Paul done was give you a hug. And then I says, "Come here, you want to shake my hand?" I says, "Get out here, I'll give you a cuddle." And you says, "Oh, you's like that. Some people are not like that."
Yeah.
Some people like that.
I do all the time. You hug everybody. We done it the first
Aye.
time, mate. It's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need that, didn't you? And you done it to that guy. And you says, the only person that's in here. A simple hug. Isn't it?
Do you know the thing is as well, it's a very long way in there, right? Yeah. And that man's stuck in that chair in there every day with no TV or nothing.
No TV either.
No TV or nothing. And they shut the door over because he shouts all the time. But it's because he's been left in there.
Yep.
And there was one nurse who was actually like from the university who really made a great effort with him. His name was Adam. He sat, like, kneeled at him, he spoke softly, spoke to him like a human being.
Yeah, which he is.
Aye, exactly.
And you obviously seen a complete flip in the way he addressed people for the person that was left.
That's because of the way that those nurses, they were on a night shift, those nurses, and they couldn't be bothered. I mean, it's because the way he flung the water, the bed and all that had got wet. So it was as if it was too much ass. So they put one sheet over that blow up mattress that we have in there. Do you know what I mean? And it was just the way she spoke to him, calling him a fucking animal. I was like, that's not on. I said, I'm not having that.
And sitting in the night shift, maybe sitting out in the nursing station for an hour. I'm not saying they've done that, but what I'm saying is rather than sitting 15 minutes talking to the guy, saying, look, what's making you feel like this?
What you have to do as well is, like, say if you're needing something, you get your PRN, like, say, like, medication. Aye. Like, you have to keep going back and reminding them and And it's like, it's not as if you're rushing about you're sitting there in your arse, Linda, with your cake and your coffee, do you know what I mean? And it's like, so...
I know, but
the PRN, for people who don't know, it's medication, it's as required. When you're in the hospital, when you're in psychiatric hospitals, especially in the wards, they tell you to try A, B and C. I walked about the cold grass in the morning. I took cold showers, not because somebody told me, because I've done that for when I went and I laid down on cold surfaces. I went out and just had time myself. I drew the cold air in, all these things. And this nurse says to me one day, I says, can I have my PRN? It was about 11 o'clock. No, they're doing the changeover. I says, I know, but you're still up to date. Can I have it? Yeah. No, you need to try this. I says, but I have tried it. And see that thing that we talk about, the anger, and that building up, that you've got to keep. It's like a boiling kettle in it, keep a lid on it. And I said, and I got to stage, mate, that I ran in and right into the meeting. And I says, look, and it blew up. See, later on that night, I was standing with two fire extinguishers, and this big nurse jumps in front of me, like Hagrid. And I says, you take one step more, mate, that's your left eyeball, that's your right. I mean, that's wrong, mate. But I was, you know this, Maggie, you get beyond that stage, there's ration. And I was talking, and I can't, I was talking in a calm manner. I was talking like this. You know what I mean? I was keeping myself calm for by the insides was running like a steam engine in it. And you don't. I never asked. Sometimes I didn't ask for it because I thought, no, it's not always the answer. I can try and get myself out of this situation, which I did. But I know, Paul, it's frustrating when you say you're sitting there doing that. But what they do there is sometimes they put you in the same classes, see the other patients that are kicking off. I'm no one of these people. You're only one of the people kicking off. Nobody just kicks off for a reason.
No, you need to be pushed, I think. And I think already, because that hospital let me down so badly, when it came to people like that who couldn't really speak up for themselves, like that man, like they had no patience. Like the older guy that I basically cared for the full time there as well. Once you get to know him, you could understand a bit more, but I kicked off one day because they gave him diazepam right before he was going out for dinner with his family. He had a day pass to go out, and he just fell asleep, so they had to phone and cancel. And what they've done that just to keep him quiet, just because sometimes he would be a bit
exciting and stuff. But the thing is, you don't maybe realise sometimes. I know it can trigger things excited, but that's probably an environment that maybe a wee bit high to start with, but that's when he probably feels it most.
When I first went there as well, he had a Zimmer all the time. But then soon I got to the point where I was taking him up for fresh air, and we didn't need the Zimmer. Because I actually said, stop giving him that diazepam through the day and just making him pass it. I'm like, because he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
Again, goes back to what you spoke about earlier about medication, that they get you medicated that much.
There's so many nurses that would just part when I walk by, just in case I said something, but I just didn't like the way some of them were treated at all.
See, when mind we spoke about earlier about a Caesar 4 about I've asked them not to treat me like a number and a statistic. I'm very acutely aware of my mental health, but there's times that I'm lost at that thing. The auditory and visual hallucinations come in, and you saying about the CIA and all this kind, it's so real that you're aware of it. And I'm aware of how you're fully aware of you. See when you, Maggie, were getting into that, constantly getting in there all the time and getting popped out the door and screaming at them, telling them, look, I know what it is exactly is. See for the way you personally felt, I need you to make this connection and tell us, everybody here, how you felt getting treated as a human being there compared to when you went into the beats and the care you got and attention, how you felt then.
The care and all that was totally different. I mean, I ended up knowing all the nurses' names, like all the nurses knew me. I knew the doctors and stuff, you know. You have your own like consultant as well. Now I didn't really see her, to be honest. She's just the one that tells you your results. I mean, my results rolled off her tongue and it was like, right, when you go. That's the only thing I have to say. But see, the nurses and doctors, they were all amazing, totally amazing. I actually didn't want to leave.
Well, we know this. See if you had been the first or second time and the first time you presented yourself in the hospital to these GPs that popped you out the door. See if they had listened to you and hurtled on you. See with the BPD thing with your emotions, you obviously would have emotionally dealt with that in a far better place.
This is the thing as well.
That must have triggered so much in you, pal.
Sometimes my mental health would be blamed for some of the symptoms I had. Like, see the tiredness and like my mood, obviously, but I'm like, that doesn't explain. Like,
how many times did that trigger schizophrenic episodes in you?
A lot, so much so that it broke up a relationship that I really, really cared about. And I think it was because he had his own issues as well. I had mine, and that was like my my teenage love, up until a couple of years ago.
Like what we could call your first big love, innit?
The only, to be honest.
The person that took your heart, stole your heart off you, pal.
And I still blame, because I was a lot to deal with at the start of my BPD diagnosis.
And it is, we're a nightmare. But that factor there hasn't helped.
No, but then when he had his own issues as well,
the two fighting together,
just a bad combination.
But it's the trigger thing, innit? And we need to learn how to deal with that. And the biggest trait is the emotional thing. But that, it shows you how simple that seed was planted there, and then emotionally it rolled on to where you dealt with that. And that alone is went for one thing. It's triggered one thing. For the schizophrenic episodes, to your BPD, to the emotions, to the breakdown relationship, to the stage that you've then lost the person you loved, which then puts you way back again. So it's one step forward and 20 steps back into it. And who's to pick up the carnage? You.
Me.
Aye.
So let's talk about the, I don't know if we can talk about coping mechanisms, right? Or treatments that you would get from. So obviously they would advise, so when you were leaving the Beatson, for example, right, what advice or what treatment plan were you given? Was there any at all, or did you just leave the Beatson and that was it?
Left the Beatson and that was it, really.
So you had to find your own coping mechanisms then, didn't you?
Well, I was bedridden for the first couple of months, you know what I mean? So
you couldn't do it.
And I was quite on a lot of heavy medication as well, so I slept a lot. I did. And then for then I had to just start teaching myself to go up and down the stairs more, like, and see, even after just getting up and down the stairs once, I'd been knackered and I sleep for 2 hours. But I've got to the point now where I'm able to walk like outside my front door and up round the corner and back. I have muscle deterioration as well, so it affects me. Like my joints and bones are all sore, obviously because of the menopause too. So I'm constantly aching, but I need to keep pushing myself, because the way I was at the beginning, why I was so stiff and couldn't move, is because I lay in that bed at the Beatson for so long. So I didn't want to go back the way. So I kept pushing myself.
Right.
Even days I didn't want to, I done it.
You're sent here without a package of care.
Aye.
You explained to us that how much your bladder was retaining. It's 3 times the size it's went. If it's retained that much fluid in it, you've got to crawl from here to there in agony to get it spaced out your tights. periods of time that you've maybe been sleeping for like 3 and 4 hours when your bladder should have been emptying itself.
Oh, aye, well, they didn't pick that up until a couple of weeks ago when I went to Wishaw, and they gave me a CT scan first. Again, I says I need a catheter, and I said that the first day, and it wasn't until the 5th day they're like, "No, you need a catheter." I said, "For fuck's sake, you're just listen to me."
That reacts, that wreaks havoc when there's muscle will go the same as your esophagus and that they see the muscles that contract to hold the toilet in. That starts making it loses that elasticity, doesn't it? And it doesn't help. We're gonna be peeing ourselves with accident. Do you know what I mean? How can you retain holding that much fluid in when you're spaced out your tits and sorry for
They found out
medication.
they found out as well that week. Now I had been in a ward that was like with other women and stuff, and it was until the 4th or 5th day they were like, "Oh, we need to put you into your own room." I'm like, "Why?" They were like, "You've got group A strep." Now I had group B strep when I was pregnant, my first, but I hadn't heard of group A strep. Now that's been caused as well by an infection by the radiotherapy. So
Through magnets, Paul, tell me what that is.
it's like a really bad bacteria that can be really, really dangerous, and I'm not meant to be near anybody else. So see when they took the swabs, like the first day, I kept asking, like, did my swabs come back? Because I thought one of my tumours was ruptured because I was leaking. And I was like, that's no nice at all. So I made them take swabs. It was my idea again. I was like, you need to take swabs of that. And then I kept asking every day. And then it wasn't until the 4th or 5th day, they're like, no, she shouldn't have been with anybody else. She's got group A strep. I'm like, I did ask. Like,
you should be isolated, sort of thing in the room.
Aye, so for the last like 5 days after that, I was isolated.
Are you going home and learning about what your condition is, and is that how you know this stuff?
I have to, like, I didn't know about the group A strep, but I had a feeling with my bladder because I was, like, while I was in the toilet, like, I was sitting there and it was really, really painful. And then it was like, I was passing clots as well, like through my urine, which was really sore to pass. So when I went up to Wishaw General, they done a CT scan first and then they done an MRI. They should have just done an MRI first, because why waste money on a CT and then know they're going to have to end up taking an MRI anyway. That's when they noticed that, like, your bladder's 3 times the size it is. It's got gas in it. And I'm like, I didn't know what I meant. They didn't tell me what it meant. I had to go and look it up for myself. I'm like, right, so that's why that's like that. Right, okay. It's still like that now. That's how I ended up back in there last week. And they basically sent me home again with pain relief. I got them to take me off the morphine and stuff though, because I wasn't using it anyway. Morphine doesn't do anything for me. I just get such a high tolerance. So she was telling me, but these medications are stronger. The ones you're already on, I'm going, I know, but you're not listening to me. My body's different. Everybody's body's different. So this is all I say now to everybody. It's like, you know your own body. You listen to it.
Yeah, of course you do. But it gets to the stage we're no versed up in that information. If you know what I mean, there's an extent it comes to you saying that you're sending a patient home, mate, that's been hit with this news and that has got a history of mental health, horrendous mental health, and everything else that goes along with it, and you're sent to him with medication that zonks you out, and you have to sit and research your own. Where was the information for it? Where was the follow-up coming in for your team to come in to say, look, right, okay, sit you down and talk to this kid, because I know where my own head, and you know where your own head with this thing, that you don't retain that information, pal. It lasts as quick as a drip coming out a tap. And you're not retaining that information there. You've got to come home and your emotions are going about like a blender, pal. And they're expecting you to sit and give yourself self-therapy, give yourself medication, and get yourself back on your feet. That's oh man, that bemuses me. It does, pal. But how do you've got to tell me how you feel about that.
I think that's one of the reasons why I keep myself busy, like try to help other people as well through my own life experiences. And I think it takes, see when I'm helping somebody, I'm not Maggie with a cancer anywhere. I'm just Maggie. Like, I'm normal. I feel normal.
But yeah.
Am I? Aye. Everybody has bad days, but this is what really annoys me as well. See, once your mental health, you've been diagnosed, then everything's about, it's all your mental health's fault. See somebody that isn't diagnosed with the same stuff as me, they could be going through the exact same symptoms. Like, I remember like times I would get so angry or upset and like depressed, and it's where I admitted to my CPN back then that at the weekend to get myself up and moving, I would take coke when I didn't have my kids, and that was so I could do housework and just get my body up and moving.
That was your cope mechanism.
Cope mechanism, But to this day, if I admitted that, even at Wisher General, I was saying last week, I have an addictive personality. I wasn't addicted. I didn't need to tell my CPN that, but it's still casted up to this day because I've said that.
But part of the trait of BPD is they tell you you've got an addictive personality, and automatically they say that 85% of people will turn to substances, alcohol or something. But that is part of an addictive.
Yeah.
You could have compulsivity, you could have the shopping addiction.
See, I did have that as well. Like, I would spend this was even before I was diagnosed with BPD.
Addictive behaviour is something that we're dealing with to actually numb ourselves for the reality that's happened. See, for your age, Paul, did you get, if you were young with your mental health, Paul, did you have psychiatrists, psychologists? Did you get that? Did that follow you right through your adolescent years onwards?
Right up until before I was diagnosed with my cancer. That's when I still had my psychiatrist.
Are you still seeing them?
No.
So, but you had your psychiatrist at the age of 12?
Yep.
Wow, man.
So why are you not seeing them now, Paul?
Well, this is another thing that they're trying to get me to. Well, they said they were gonna. Wisher General said they were gonna get my CPN to send my letter out. I've still not seen them. Like, see that woman that met me in the hospital a couple of weeks ago, who I argued with because I was telling her I didn't want to be on mirtazapine anymore because I didn't like it made me feel and stuff like that. And also I told her that I was only taking the 100 milligrams of quetiapine. They shot themselves the first night I was there because they gave me the full 600 and my heart rate dipped so low that they had to put the alarm on and everything.
That doesn't help you, Paul. That makes you go the opposite way.
No. But I said to them the next day, I said, I already told you I was only taking the 100. But because it was they was just, I'm like handling my own body.
But you monitored yourself over that length of time. I've done it. I know what you're saying, Paul, but you can't just flip that with your medicine.
No.
So this is where the anger comes in. Obviously, you're going to be really angry about this. So who do you think's to blame for them not picking up the phone, or do you think it's just a case of they're are you taking it personal? You'll be taking this personal, wouldn't you? Obviously, taking it personal. As in, do you think because you've had a wee fallout, a massive fallout with them, do you think that they're not contacting you because of that, or do you think there's something else?
My own GP will not contact me now because see, after I get diagnosed, see that doctor that I kept phoning every day, I went right through her. I says, this is your fucking fault. I says, I'm in this state because you. I says, I gave you all my symptoms, but you didn't know what it was.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I fucking knew what it was. Like, how did you know? And she says, hold on a minute. And she went away and she started laughing with her colleague and I could hear her. Now at the time I says to her, I says, I've just recorded you laughing at me. And she went, I wasn't. I says, I've got you on record. I says, you were? I says, think this is funny?
So fucking angry.
I did. So see, when I was meant to go for my bloods to be took down there, they sent the district nurse to my house. That was only that one time. And that was before I was going for my MRI for my results, for the chemo and stuff. So, but no, they don't contact me.
Maggie, I'm going to ask you a question that I know this man that left him his tap and he's singing in his face and he's drawing his breath to see his name. That GP, sorry, there has to be a level of accountability here for this. And I need to ask you this because this is only my ignorance here. And if there's a million people hopefully listening to this, you're going to ask the same questions I know you're thinking. Do you think, Maggie, that if they had picked up on this at very, very early stage, through being in the beats and with their care, that if that was caught, I was reading up this morning of people that's stage 3, that's through early indication. There's women that's been a lot further down as testimony. I'll put on you this link on you, testimony that they're here, they've beat it. But do you think that the early indication, if it had been picked up, or was your cancer different to that? I don't know.
About a year and a half before I was even diagnosed, obviously I went for a smear because I hadn't bled for the coils put in, which was nearly 3 years.
Right.
So I knew all this was abnormal.
It's not
So
natural.
then it came back with abnormal cells. It should have been, like a biopsy should have been done, but it was never done. So it could have been
And
prevented.
that's a standard practice thing.
Aye. It could have been prevented.
Wow.
See on that little story again, my grandma's just gone through she had a tumour growing here and she got it removed, and the whole process was like over a year long, and the only reason she got seen eventually was because she threatened to go private phoned her up and says, we'll get you in on the Monday. This was like the Thursday, we'll get you in on the Monday, it'll cost you $3,000. So she phoned up the NHS and told them, see your appointment that you've gave me for 3 months time. Now this thing was, I mean, gruesome, but it was well, we think it was cancerous. They then got her in the next week. So the private said Monday, they says, right, okay, we can get you in on a Wednesday. So it's all about persistence. Like, you're doing the right thing, but it's sad. It's sad that if you've got the money, you know, that stuff, and that's a sad reality.
You know, how many people do you know that now, mate, is going doing private healthcare because of it? But
even that is and I know it's no like you're going through it when I take that away, but like, is there any, like you were saying about held accountability, is there any compensation? I know
I have been told, even by the doctor that had found the cancer, that worked at Wishaw General, to take it further. The Beatson told me to take it further.
Yeah.
You know, because they said that, especially because the scans were took for my coil, that the tumours were unmissable. So
I don't know if this has just been an individual GP or whatever the case be, right? But there needs to be across that board, into then there needs to be that information. How many wee Magic Maggies are there going to take to that somebody says, right, we need to put this information here, there's a flaw, there's a chink in the armour here, we need to put this information down through, get the GPs into a seminar or something, or a learning thing or something. I know they've got a lot on, we know that, right? And it's a lot to take in, but we can't keep this keeping through the...
So what has to, because obviously me and you spoke about it on the phone before, right? So what has to happen for us, if we can do it, we need to try and help you get to the right people to contact. Now, there's one thing that I noticed off the side, your car as well, you can't pick up your car, you don't know your car as well, your car's been uplifted. So we're going to try and find out, we're going to help out where your car is as well, we'll try and get that sorted. But for this, you need help, because you've not got enough strength to do this yourself. No chance, no. So you want us to give you help with that, to get you this, because I know Bob will be right on this.
See that? We talked about it, read on it. For the simple thing, the only thing they knew that our first thing I see is I'm 24 hours all the time for you, pal, because I know it'd be like to get a phone call and I see you don't sit there greeting him, pick the phone up. If I've got to stop and do what I done and put myself at the back of the queue like you done to make sure that guy's all right, because I know exactly you, I know how you feel to do it, but we shouldn't need to, if you know what I mean. We're no the trained
So
self-care.
I think the whole point is with us as well. We're the whole point. And we started Green Sunrise together, right? And the Green Sunrise was all about collecting other people and services. Me linking you with other services. Now you'll link me with services, but the whole point is we need to now get into a room together and say, right, what is it you need to find out? Who is it you need to touch? Because you can't do this yourself. And I don't imagine you would be able to do it yourself. So we need to, that's your new account with us, right? And we're now going to be on your side. Now we spoke about, what we're going to speak about now, and I don't want to obviously disengage from that situation, but we're going to speak a wee bit about, we've got plenty of time here, loneliness, right? Now the loneliness, have you always, has the loneliness got worse since your problems started?
I say the loneliness was worse for the cancer, because obviously being in hospital such a long period of time, I didn't see or really speak to anybody. And some friends were scared to come because they were scared what they were going to see, just because of the state I went in, like, getting in the way. But I remember my two friends came up, and I met them at the elevator. I was waiting at the elevator and he stepped out and he took a step back and went, what the fuck? And he went, I was expecting you to look totally ill. I said, well, when I wanted to be here a couple of months ago, but I made a big, massive change. But even since getting home, There's one friend that I can, well, two that I can properly rely on, and it's Mary and Jordan. Mary obviously has her own family, her own
Yeah.
life and stuff like that, but she's always there. She has BPD the same as me.
Right.
We actually met because I found out she had went with my ex, so
Oh, fuck.
we were
Aye.
I was nearly fighting and everything.
Right,
But
your turn.
But then when I found out what she was going through and stuff like that, and then we obviously found out we had the same illnesses, a lot of same childhood
Yeah.
experiences and stuff like
Yeah.
that, we're just totally connected.
Yeah.
She's been a great help for me. But as I says, I don't like asking
No.
for anything.
So this is what we speak about all the time, right? We speak about you have to be a pain in our arse.
No.
To you need to be shouting out, and if you don't shout, you don't get. And I think I've spoken about it. If you sometimes you shout, you look like a maniac. We don't care if you look like a maniac. You need to ask, and you need to keep reaching out, because we're going to help you. We're going to help you 100%. We're going to help you when we can. Obviously, if we can, he'll always be there. Bob says he's there 24 hours. He's no there 24 hours. He will be there. Bob knows this because Bob's got to deal with his own stuff as well.
Paul,
and
where's the breakdown here, right? That all these facilities were running fine, weren't they?
Mhm.
All these therapies, all these appointments, the GPs, things, everything else, before this crap COVID appeared. But all these, they were making appointments to 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, mate, to get the waiting list down, right? You went into A&E and you sat for 2 years, 3 years with a waiting list, mate. There's a friend of mine's an ambulance driver, man, gave it up to go to a different department because he sat for a 12-hour shift, he sat for 10 hours. He couldn't have signed up and his ambulance couldn't go to somebody else because he was sitting on a waiting list. Mate, you can't run an A&E with two people. Do you know what I mean? You've still got to hear the same amount, in the psychiatric ward, you've still got to hear the same amount of people because the nurses are watching somebody. You've still got to run the place. These facilities can still run, but at a different level, the big thumb's coming down into me and putting the pressure on it. It's people's lives they're talking about here.
I know. I was always going to jump in and say, like, even in my line of all our lines of work, there's people that, I mean, I've gone into jobs and been promised this and the next thing, and when you don't get it, I don't care as much. Like, you go in, you're keen, and that's probably what you're experiencing with the keen nurses and that. It beats in that they're still keen and they're caring and they're good people. But then on the other side, you've got people who don't care. Their passion's gone out the job. Plus, the other side of it, sticking up for them a little bit, is they're not getting the money. They're all minimum wage. The government's giving them a clap on a Thursday night instead of putting an extra pound in their pocket. But the difference is, when I didn't do my job right, maybe I didn't weld a job right, it gets but when they don't do their job right, there's people's lives at risk.
Yeah.
And that's a difference. And again, I just want to say, like, we're kind of seen as if we're beating these nurses up, and it's not, because there are some really good, as you've said, but the ones that aren't are the ones that, and this is the stuff again, to tie it back, this is the stuff I rant about a lot, is it's socialism, socialised healthcare. The doctors are getting their same wages regardless whether they do a good job or a bad job. So that breeds lack of care. Like, you know, you're going to work, you're seeing the same people 5 minutes every appointment, and then you're going home and you're still getting the same amount of money. There's no, back in my great granny's day, she says that home doctors just come and knock your door and see if you're all right. They care, and that's gone. And that's
what about that one? Mate, they have been. They're getting the wind took at them, aren't they?
Aye.
That buffoon that ran the country in year stood outside number 10, and we all done it, and clapped. Now they've been slapped, isn't they? That is the best way to see what's happened to the NHS and the nurses. But it's all gone privatised, mate.
See, beats in, because I'm Neffy here, obviously. Is it NHS funded? Because I reckon
it's a charity.
It's a charity.
Oh, is it a charity? There you go. There you go.
Fundraising,
I kept wanting to ask. I was like, is it private or is it, again? But that makes a lot of sense. That's just what I just said. Is my grandma was told, if you need an appointment Monday, 4 days later, it's because you've got the money. And if
Maggie will tell you that the fundraising that needs to go on in that place takes more an effort than running the hospital, mate.
Yeah.
My sister works we spoke about this in Irby Hospice. End of life palliative care, people are dying in there and all, mate. And that is all about, 84% of their funding came from public.
Aye.
The beds and the medicine is supplied with the NHS.
I just
Everything else
because the
is
people that'll be
public
working
funding.
there will be people that want to work there.
Uh-huh.
Nay, the people
Aye.
at the NHS that are
Aye.
going in,
Like
getting their minimum wage, nay feeling appreciated, and then
That's what I was saying as well. There's people like beauticians that'll come like after their treatments and give massages and
Aye.
stuff, or do nails, or just something to make us
Aye.
feel a bit better. And they're doing that
that's amazing.
because
That's
they
good.
want to, not because they're being paid for it.
Aye.
So-
I mean that in itself is proof, because I mean I kind of pay more interest to the American politics and the way they run their country, and they, although the government has taken out the piss with the price they charge for inhalers, $750, an inhaler should be about $30-40, or it used to be, and they do take the piss that way, but they're getting better healthcare than we're getting because they're paying for it, and it's just the way,
Yeah,
the way it is.
the NHS was promoted
And
as
it's
the
basically
best healthcare on
private.
planet,
The way America is private, you've got your healthcares and all that, but it just it should be the underlying thing that people take away is it shouldn't be the case, because we've not all got the money.
No.
There's a lesson comes through the last 2 years here that we've lived in, right?
Mhm.
What Maggie says there, that see what the beauticians have came and done, and the thing that you've done, pal, the thing that's maybe going on here, that you forget about yourself to make sure somebody else is all right. They're doing it in all their own time. Does that no just reinforce your faith in humanity,
Aye.
pal?
Yeah.
People do that. And
I love
in
to
the
hear
last 2 years, when that's been took away from us, been orchestrated, not took away from us, there's a lesson in that to see instead that F you, Jack, I'm all right. Make sure that old boy there, Ben or whatever it is all right. Make sure that you're staying in a busy street, pal. If people know about it, your friends, it's amazing that somebody's got their own life and their own mental health issues like your pal there, and still comes down to make sure that how much easier is it, mate, if we just picked the phone up, if we did go and see that other person.
Yeah.
We're not getting paid for it, but we all need help, didn't we, at one point, and it's
See, Paul's kind of asked you a couple of times, but we've kind of gone off. But what do you do for enjoyment, for fun? Do you do maybe?
I clean.
Yes.
I think over the last couple of days I've been trying to phone you to just to get everything all right. We're going, because we were talking about like having structure to this episode, right? And before, right, we'll talk about it. We'll get some questions. I'll get to know you a wee bit more. And Father tries to me answer. She's like, I was cleaning, but you're obviously cleaning.
well, I'll tell you one thing, Maggie, you can get into my flat, sit in that bedroom, you can eat as much fun as you want for the next 3 days.
No, Kevin wouldn't like that, mate. But
I do that. But don't get me wrong.
That's a vent and all, but isn't it?
I think as well for the beats in, because what I'd started to do as well, I started like doing face masks. Now it's something so simple, but I came out, my skin was great because of it. So I've kept that up a wee bit, but I don't get out or anything. I haven't been able to drive because obviously the medication that I was on. I'm not able to do that now, but as I said, because I didn't have an MOT while I was in the beats in, they've told it away, but they've not told me where it is. But
who's not told you?
whoever took it.
So we need to just find the postcode, don't we? Find the postcode and find out where if we can.
So, but that's what I'm saying. It's like because it wasn't MOT'd, because it was parked outside, like on the road. That's why they've clamped it and then took it a couple of days after
So
that.
this will be in one of the pounds somewhere, isn't it?
Well, aye, but that's what I'm saying. So, like my independence.
When we need to contact them, mate, you also need to put the case across. So why?
Yeah, well, the story is obviously the story's there to tell, but
they will ask. The unfortunate side of this, they need to ask for proof that you were in hospital. They need to ask for proof about all these things.
Yeah, and that's think.
I've been down that road with it,
Aye,
isn't
you've been
it?
down
But
that
we'll
road.
give them it.
That's fine.
We'll give them it, Paul. Can
So-
you drive?
Asian drives, that's why.
That's what I'm saying. I was
So-
actually just got a lease a new
Maggie,
car.
but see
but
if can you drive? You're driving to hospital. Do you need to sit a couple of hours more to be able to drive back out?
I've not actually drove in about a year now. Obviously because it took no while till obviously getting took off my morphine and stuff. So I'm able to drive now. So that I'm looking forward to having that sort of independence back, because I feel like that was totally took away from me.
Emotionally, but I need to ask this, that I choose not to drive now, Paul, because you explained to you about the periods of dissociation, right? And I've missed the A to B, and I listened to a tutorial that your body still remembers implanted how to drive. It's like a pigeon coming home into it, so all that stuff. I need to ask you, with your BPD, Paul, how, and something that's going on your emotions, how's your concentration? Are you a good driver, or nobody for the DVL's listening, or
Oh,
do you get a,
beep, beep.
or
It's like,
Paul doesn't
do you
know what a traffic light or a roundabout is.
do you know what everybody used to say to me? That my driving was terrible. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I wouldn't notice, but I'd be doing maybe a 70 on a 30. And
Mind the details, you know.
I should have said that, shouldn't I?
No, but
So
listen,
I would
you
be
see
driving
what I
over
mean?
whatever the speed limit is anyway, right? But I wouldn't notice. And then see, after I get diagnosed and I realised that that was one of the symptoms, from then on, I had to put myself into the car and keep reminding myself,
Was
right,
that
watch the
your-
speed limit.
Was that your concentration, Maggie, or was that
Concentration,
no
because
thinking?
sometimes even before I was diagnosed, I would be at Aldi's 1 minute and then I'd be at home and I'd be like, I don't know how, I can't remember that drive there.
Well,
That's, you talk about that, didn't you?
me and
So,
you
but
got
you-
long conversations to have if you can remember.
I don't know what I mean.
But we spoke about the fact that you're now aware of it. You can actually grasp and say, right, okay, I need to slow down. I
Right.
need to kind of drive at
See
at
the-
least 40 or
see,
50.
see the thing that I need to stop myself with driving, Paul. I don't need to, because you were a stay with it. It
Yeah,
kills
yeah.
me because I can't. We only stay arisen when my parents stay,
Aye.
and my stays a mile feature.
Yeah.
The logistics to get that is planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, yeah.
My mum and dad's 80. I'm on a short windy with them.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? Or we can steak pie for 2 years. But do you know what I mean? But I need to keep myself safe, and I need to keep public members safe.
Yeah.
I have no got the cognitive impairment to drive the now, and I wish I could, but it's an adjustment again, and it's the frustration it gets for you to be in the house yourself, to get to the hospital and get back. It's so much easier for somebody to come pick you up, or is there a private ambulance on? Is there a service there that picks you up?
Well, that's another thing. The first time that happened, when I was taken a few weeks ago, I actually phoned for an ambulance for myself, and they wouldn't send me one out because they said that they were too busy and my life wasn't threatened. I said, right, okay. And I didn't have any money for a taxi at this point either. And I wasn't going to wake somebody up at 4 a.m. and say, can you take me to the hospital? Because there's not many people that I can,
you can
my
just-
close pal Mary, she can't drive anyway, it's only her
Right.
man that can drive. And he's always like, either night shift or something, so we
Aye,
need to work
okay.
round about that. So it's no easy. See, unless it's like a booked app at the Beatson, a private ambulance will come and take me there and
That
back.
facilities there for you, Paul,
uh-huh.
right?
Whereas getting to Wisha General, because I felt in such a terrible way, I had to put up with another night until it was a lady that I'd met in the hospital before, an older lady, who actually came and picked me up and took me there. So
This is a reality for a massive amount of people, isn't it? You're in that much pain and you have no way to get there. You have no money in your pocket to get a taxi. That taxi, pal, fills your fridge for a couple of days there and back, did it?
aye,
Or switches your heating on.
or something, do you know?
We're all jumping about in
um,
the fleece jackets, you know,
because
to keep
but
warm.
I didn't know what happened as well while I was in the Beatson. If you're in the hospital for a certain amount of time, all your money gets stopped because you've got a bed, you're getting fed.
After 28 days or
And
something.
I'm like, but I still have kids as well that people have, and they
No, that's
they
true,
stop
Paul.
your money. They stop every
Because
So
you're
they
in-
stop the money when you're in the Beatson?
Yeah.
After 28 days, not
Doesn't
just the
matter.
Beatson,
Any
it's
hospital?
it's
Just any
anywhere.
hospital?
It's anywhere if you're in for a length of time, but nobody, I was only aware of this because somebody, it was in a conversation, it blew me off my feet. That they says I was in the hospital, and the ward where I was in that long, they says that my money was cut. And when they come out of the hospital, do you have to reconnect with that service again to get
or I
in-
had to reapply.
Reapply,
for
I was going to say
everything,
that, so they reapply. So that,
when you've came through your treatment,
no,
when your body's in bits, your mental health's in bits, you've no follow-up care, you've no package of care, you've nobody to tell you can give you that information.
no, and I
And
was.
you're not in medication that sedates you, and you've got to sit and deal with the housing or the benefits. So
And then once it wasn't until I got out of hospital into that house that I was sitting there, and I hadn't been in that house before until I got out of the Beatson, and I had absolutely nothing. I had nothing, and I had to phone up. But don't get me wrong, like some friends like Mary would come and like maybe bring like food, some fruit
Aye.
or something for me to help me.
Yep.
Do you know? And then I was sleeping. But then once I would come round, say to sit and go through all that, like to explain everything over
Yeah.
the phone, to reapply for money.
Yeah.
Maggie,
It's like
Maggie,
feedback.
do you not get anybody like through your mental health thing and stuff like that? Is there anybody there that is your like a caseworker or something that can put us?
Do you know what? There's a lady that would come and visit me in the Beatson who used to be my social carer, who would help me, like, because I wouldn't be able to go shopping or that before. Like, I wouldn't leave the house. I was too terrified. I would take panic attacks. I was riddled with anxiety. So she sort of helped me cope with that for a couple of years. And we stayed friends.
Yeah.
And she was coming and visit me in the Beatson. She actually came out to that new house as well. But again, she would ask, like, tell me if you need it and just tell me. But I don't do it. I'll not tell her.
No, you don't.
Everything's
You
fine.
don't do it. We all don't
No,
do
you
it.
don't.
Everything's
That's
fine.
it.
Because you think to yourself, everybody's dealing with their own issues. So you don't want to put yours.
But it's we spoke about this, didn't we? That you know your body so well, you know your mental health so well, but you've heard me saying that I need to put my hand up because I need help. I need help because I'm 50-year-old. I've done this. I've stood me on 2 feet. I fought my own personal war for years and years and years, and you're doing it, and you do need help, but with your own emotional stuff, with everything you've told us that's not even come out in camera yet, with your own health, with the cancer, with everything else there, and then back in the house, that information should be given to you prior to you going out the hospital.
I felt
For
like
that
that should
length
have,
of
there
time.
should have been a care plan or something in place.
Package of care put in place for you with information. Somebody there also to deal with you to say, right, okay, your housing, we need to make sure you can't work, your benefits are there, this is there, that's there. These people do a great job, but unless you ask for it or shout loud enough for it,
Yeah, that's one thing. So like you've already connected with me, Bob and Ian, right? There's already about 3 or 4 people that I know that's going to connect with you right after this, and I'll give you the numbers and we'll get talking, because there's very similar cases to, no similar cases to you, but similar situations of loneliness, but the people that can help us. So I'm going to connect you with these people as well. There's a girl called Susie that I'm going to connect you with as well. And it's not the Susie that we know, but
Susie Bear.
it's no Susie Bear, but there's another Susie. We're going to connect you with her as well, and we're going to just start growing the numbers around you, if that's all right with you.
No, that's fine. I really appreciate it.
But so the day you wanted to come to tell your story, right? And oh my God, you've told a story, right? Is there anything else that you want to tell people as an advice for other people that, again, know everybody's wearing your shoes, but what advice would you give to people that obviously the experience that you've gained?
See the here now, Maggie, where you're sitting at the now, pal, with everything added all up, the news you've been given, let's say with your cancer, right? That what this is an inevitability, your emotions and everything, pal. Let people know about this, pal. If you've got the strength to do this, you let people know
What do you want to say?
daily in your mind. What do you want to message you want to put to people?
Sounds like such a cliche, but I think everybody's too scared to ask for help when they need it, especially with men. Because my ex, he had a hard time coping, and he coped with alcohol, and ended up with multiple organ failure. But I didn't know he was feeling the way he was feeling. And he was putting antidepressants and stuff as well. But also, look on the medical side of things, I think lassies need to keep up to date on their smears. It's not like I didn't, because I did.
Thanks for saying that, pal. Good.
You just need to keep at them. I mean, I can't get past the receptionist, like at the doctor's, and she'll sit and say, what's your symptoms or something? I'm telling you, you're no doctor. That's the way they speak to you. And see, as soon as you phone 1 minute past 8, you're caller number 30. And even getting over the phone appointments, like all appointments are done.
But that starts to build your short fuse up, doesn't it?
It does, it pisses me off
I know,
because
the mere minutes
so many
goes up.
people are
It is,
getting
but
let
the mere
down.
minutes going, that anger starts going. How many times have you just pressed that button?
But they let my mum down as well, which was 6 years ago this month, and COVID wasn't about then.
What was that, pal? Tell me.
She was at the doctor's for over 2 weeks straight, kept at them, don't want to see her. Seen her till it was a viral, kept leaving her antibiotics and stuff that she was allergic to, so then she was having to wait again. She was at the out hours on the Friday night. She told them, I feel like I'm dying. she's coughing up brown stuff. And he's like, no, it's a viral. She was sent home with antibiotics the Saturday morning. She was away. She had died with pneumonia.
These are things that are totally avoidable, and they just didn't listen to her, or they just misdiagnosed her
and
gave her they actually gave her medicines that she was allergic to.
They had left them at the reception and she was allergic to them, so she would say, I can't take them. So then she would have to wait a couple of days again for the doctor to write off a script.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? That was then out of hours guy. I mean, he just couldn't be any more less interested in her than he was just wanting her out. And it was when she said, I feel like I'm dying. So I'm looking at this doctor and this doctor's saying it's a viral and I'm going, you're such an exaggerator. I'm like, why? Like, I'm looking at my mum and like agreeing with this doctor, going with what that doctor's saying, and then saying next day my mum was away.
See anybody goes in there in a vulnerable state, that you're putting yourself into, you're completely handing yourself over.
You're putting your trust in these doctors. I mean, I wasn't listening to my own mum. I'm saying, you're such a drama queen and that's a viral. And it wasn't. She knew how her body was feeling. She said it that night. She just said, I feel like I'm dying.
There's a lot of people going, there is, we're feeling it in the room, you're feeling it in here, the anger that comes in here. This personally, I've seen this is going to two friends of mine that's GPs, want to see this. There's two friends of mine that works in the Beatson, two different departments of Beatson. And I know they're the nurses that treat you, they're the super nurses that treat you, they want to show their seniors and they're following. This is going to my sister that works in the palliative care. And I know how these people are going, I know how you're going to react when you hear this. Do you know what I mean? Because it gets that backup.
Yeah.
When is this going to be, mate? When is this going to be listened to? Do you know what I mean? Because this is no, cancer, you know how this is affecting, but you know what I mean? This is destroying you, isn't it? The emotional side, yes, everything is destroying you on this, pal.
I had heard about cancer and stuff, right? You know, it's a really, really terrible thing, but seeing how you actually go through it or somebody else goes through it, you don't realise just how horrible it is. And it drains the life right out you. It does. And I mean, I looked nothing like myself when I was first took into the Beatson. And see, when I look back in pictures now, I just think I look drastic. And they didn't actually think I was going to make it through my treatment. So even just finishing my treatment, the nurses and the doctors all came down with me and let me ring the bell just for finishing the treatment. And they were all crying and everything because I walked in there not able to walk, but I was able to walk down and ring that bell.
I know, I've seen it. I've seen
Maggie,
the videos.
see if you, for the start of that GP, to you getting listened to you getting the treatment, to you getting through, to you getting left in the hospital, the ward in the Beatson, for the GP came and dealt with your coil, for all that stuff. If that treatment had all went the way we hoped it should have went, and the way it should go, because all that's put in place to the stage for into the Beatson, for the care that you've got. Let's say you've got that care straight across the board for all the nurses. On that, even still getting to the diagnosis of your cancer, how would you feel different on that, for all that being all put in place, the care package after coming out to the hospital, to your home? Do you find that obviously it would have made a difference? You speaking for that, how much would that have took an impact on you and helped you in that?
Looking at myself now, I think I've done really well for myself.
Darling,
do you know what I mean? I mean,
Magic man.
I feel like I've really
That's how you
healed.
call me Magic Man.
I feel like I've really healed myself a lot. I don't think I would change it after it. I'm not saying it like I've no struggles, but I think I had to do things my own way. Because it's hard, especially with anxiety and stuff. So you have a stranger come into your house and you don't. I mean, it takes me a while sometimes to open up to people when it's to do with my own health. But I say if it's me dealing with somebody else, I'm right in there. But for me, I can go anxious, I can stutter, I can...
I was in a motor 10 minutes and my wallet disappeared. That lies in the camera.
So I think I wouldn't change that part of it because I do a lot of like meditation and stuff and I feel like that helps a lot. There's also a thing that I done there's a lady that volunteers in a hospital. It's called Wellbeing. Now it sounds so like such a simple thing. She'll tell you like to close your eyes and tell you where to imagine yourself and all that. I walked out that therapy group thinking that I took a diazepam. That's what we had felt. So it's not always medicine that we need to turn to.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's so many things that we can do that
See
can heal
the-
ourselves.
See the connection that Paul's talking about you get for this, for having an understanding, for you talking about human emotion, how it affects us, all this, the connection I've made with you this morning, this has only started for us, Paul, trust me. It isn't medicine that gives you that into it, Paul. There's no any substance that you'll take, there's no any alcohol, there's no outside buzz or anything at all you'll do your behaviour or end adrenaline fix that can get you close to what human compassion and love can give for that. I'm speaking on your behalf here, Paul. There's a lesson to every single person that's probably start greeting me, the first person to greet me. There's a lesson that needs to be listened to every healthcare professional, GP, doctor, nurses, everybody that's maybe getting the thumb screw turned down and the pressure put on them into it. That Maggie here, wee Magic Maggie here, has just testified for the last hour or so how the human spirit and resilience and adversity and dealing with all this yourself though. Let's give credit to people yourself. You've done this all yourself, man. For a young age, you've been through it and through it and through it, pal. How you're still here, darling. And we know about this. We talk about the suicide stuff. How you're still here, darling. My hat comes after you when I've tried it. That you have no idea for now on the impact that you're going to have on people. And see if folk don't listen to this, and shame on you, don't listen to your story, because you've only scraped a barrel here, pal. There's a lot more coming here.
You thanked me. We both picked you up and Ian was getting his ear here. You thanked us. This is a massive privilege for us.
For what, man? You don't
For what
need
you're
to thank
doing.
us, man. Sitting next to you is
Honest to
is
goodness.
the biggest thank you, man, I'll ever be graced to be in your presence, pal. I'm going to put an appeal out here, and it's just come into my head. You spoke about earlier, how much blood did you have to get every day?
A lot. The thing with my blood as well, I'm rhesus negative, so I can
Monkey
donate
blood.
to anybody. I can donate to anybody.
Aye. So I'm asking people to put an appeal out here that to get your sleeves up, people, and let's deal with this, because we're dealing with you in the forefront here. We're dealing with you sitting beside us now.
Well, that's the thing, Bob, you're right. So if there's anybody that's watching that can help us, reach out and please 100% help us. Let's get connections. Let's see if we can. Again, I keep talking about colliding and collaborating. Let's get together, man. So contact us. You know where you'll get me. If it's on a comment via Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, whatever, Twitter, whatever.
If you've got an inclination, or
Send us
anybody been through stuff like this yourself, and you think you can make a difference, to pick the phone up or chat at the door and saying, can I go and get your messages, pal, or anything at all?
I'll say one thing about my mental health though. See, for such a young age as well, see all the times that I felt or had been suicidal. See the day they told me that I had stage 3 cancer, I was desperate to live.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Good on you,
So,
I know, you need that.
yeah,
Hey, beat that.
Aye.
Eh? I
As well
told
as-
you that earlier, darling. You're not dying. Maggie, see if there's anybody that can prove they're living, it's you, pal. You have lived. I'm telling you, man, you are on fire. You're on
So
fire.
that's what I was saying about my granddad, the mindset thing, and I know that's not for everybody,
You're right, though.
but there's other things as well. And what I could offer, I could definitely send you and talk to you about things that I can. It's kind of my line of expertise, and it's not for YouTube. I know this episode is going out on YouTube, so we'll save that for after the show. But there's things that I could help you with, so we'll talk.
thanks so much.
You are beyond a living example, darling, of what resilience is, isn't it? What adversity is. You're tiny, pal. But you've got a bigger, you stand taller than that Statue of Liberty, pal. You do. Because your personality in me is bigger than that. It is. Your strength, your willpower, your drive. And we've not even covered anything on camera to what you had the bravery to divulge to just Paul and I this morning, pal. That's your story to tell. If you think after this that you feel that you need to let that go, Paul and I, there's a million episodes for you, Paul.
So you said that you're quite happy to come on and help us, didn't you?
Oh,
and do. So the way I see it, this is like we revolve seats, and there's no one co-host. We're just in a different angle. We're seeing things in a different light, but we become immersed in. You'll be the next person to interview somebody else or talk to somebody else, and you said like you're way up for that. So I'm just so glad. So yeah.
How do you feel, Maggie, if you first walked in here with your nerves, pal, and check yourself, he says, in the bathroom, okay, sorry for swearing again, that about nerves, how do you feel that that's been for then to now? And all you've spoke about, pal, is things that people have not even get the strength to talk about. One thing, pal, about even losing a partner. Do you know what I mean? Anything at all, not even anywhere near what you've spoke about. How do you now feel to compare to when you walked in the door in here?
I think a lot of my nerves were building up, especially for last night, because I couldn't get to sleep last night.
Could you?
No.
Well, you did remember you said like phone is later on, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'll be up, and you were the same because on night shift. So I said, right, we'll try and get a freeway call and we'll talk about it.
But see, then I was awake.
Yeah, awake just
but I was too nervous. I was just trying. I need to try and build myself up, but.
Yeah.
It's much more relaxing and it's just easy to talk because it's not like I'm making anything up. It's just talking. It's just people talking. It's real life. It's real life. People are going through all different things like in their life. Like because I remember when in hospital, people turn and say to me, "Oh God, I feel really selfish for feeling the way I do because of what you're going through." No, that's not the case. Everybody has their own story. Everybody goes through their own emotions. Everybody's going through their own trauma. It doesn't make MD more worse off than anybody else. Do you know what I mean? But I just find that what I do here a lot is what you said is like you don't know how I'm still standing. All I say is it's been my kids.
Arrived foresight.
Aye,
You're a
definitely.
fighter, but Maggie. You're a fighter, and sometimes you don't see till somebody tells you, pal.
No.
There's a lesson for people in the house that think, you know what I mean? I can't deal with head cold now. Come on, fuck here, man.
No.
You know what I mean? This isn't scripted, pal. We're no actors and actresses in here. You've had the bravery to overcome everything the last couple of days, even for the intervention for Paul.
Yeah.
To get to you this morning, I could sense how, and I asked Paul, please come pick me up, mate. Desperate to meet you, pal. I was desperate. The first thing I wanted to do was just throw my arms on you.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Just to tell you you're no on your Todd here, pal. You're no.
I think that's what a lot of people do need to hear still.
You're not on your own, pal.
Because there's still, as I say, the stigma about like if you feel like you need to check yourself into Ward 1. It's no. I mean, one of my friends brought my other friend, but he didn't know what ward he was coming to until he got there. And he's looking at the other friend and he's going, "Why the fuck are we here?" Right? So, see when he walked in, I could tell he looked scared, right?
Of course, aye.
And he's like, "Why are you in here?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, I just needed a break." He went, "You're obviously no fine if you're in here." And I was like, see, this is the stigma. I was like, we're all just normal people.
People don't know that's a psychiatric ward.
Aye. Like,
how you find anything you've been in there, pal? I've found it sounds crazy. It's been a humbling experience for me.
Oh, aye.
Because I've had answers, no for anybody else. I've had answers for you and that other guy and you ourselves.
See, that's what I would do as well. See, with all the patients in there, they would tell me how they were feeling and all that. And I would say to them, "You've got to get diagnosed with this, you've got to be put on this medication." And then see, we would go and see their psychiatrist that day and they'd be like, "You're right, I've been diagnosed with this. This is the medication." I'm like, I'm as well as just staying there job for them, honestly.
No, pal. But you've got to remember, like I had today, I did, that some people say, "Bob, you need to stop that, mate. You're in here because you're no well." But you can't help it, can you know?
Do you know what I love today as well? Because I played pool, right? So, and nobody would beat me, by the way.
Well, you say that. I can pot a black now and again.
No, I swear to God, nobody used to beat me. And there was one guy called Eddie who would not speak to MD. I mean, he was sent to his room quite a lot under 24 observation because he would fling things out of anger. And I used to hear him talking to himself and mumbling, but like trying to hold it in. So I noticed that he liked to play pool, so we started playing pool together. And I was the only person he would speak to. So I says to him, what's wrong with you? He says, well, I phoned my doctor and he said, I told the doctor there's voices coming out my mouth. I said, okay, do you think it's maybe Tourette's? And he went, what's Tourette's? I mean, this man, he's barred for every pub in North Lanarkshire now. I had says to him that the pub I worked at, I was like, I'll unbar you for there if I ever go back to work there. But he just had a lot of anger. But do you know what it was? They kept telling him that he would be allowed to go for a cigarette and then the nurses would change and then he wouldn't get it. So every time we'd say, I'm going to smash that telly.
It's a frustration, it's a vent, isn't it? And it's through, you sat down with for 10 minutes, but you're like you're like a mental health magnet. You can identify what's wrong with people.
I can.
Because sometimes they're going about their duties, the nurses, and they don't see it. But you've got the nurses that can pick up a mile off, pal. Because you know in there for a fact, it's like living under 24 hours CCTV in it. They miss nothing about you. To the end, you come in and say, you've done this, you've done that. You're like, no, I didn't. So you did. You said this and you said that. But they're there to pick up on it, which is a good thing. But I've done what you've done. You've de-escalated situations. I've picked up on things. But and it's only understand you've got there because you are living that experience, pal. You shouldn't need to do that. But it does in turn make you feel better, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does.
It does. It sometimes takes you away from yourself because you don't know, you don't realise how lonely you are, you don't realise how unwell you are until you see other people. And then you automatically do that, I can't leave you behind, isn't it?
No.
It's that I can't leave a man behind mentality, isn't it?
No.
Because you know how that feels. How did that guy Ben feel in the hospital? Is it Benny's name?
Benny, aye.
Benny's been trying to run for the police for 5 years and she's just dubbed him in by the way. Like, sorry, Benny.
It's not that. I mean, he asked me, he'll say, right, when we leave here, he's like, you do the cooking and I'll do the cleaning, he'd say, or the opposite. And see, the day that I was leaving, he didn't believe me the full day. And I'm like, oh, Benny, I'm like I was trying to prepare him for it. And then see, when he realised that I was leaving, he burst out greeting and says, but you're my number one pal.
They got it, you know.
Aye.
No.
It did. It actually made me know why to leave.
Aye.
Like, I didn't know why to leave
At
here.
the stage you thought you were letting him down, weren't you?
Aye, I did. So that's how, say when I went back, obviously when I was back in for a couple of weeks with my bladder, I couldn't believe that I'd showed up. But he's been told that he's getting his own house when he leaves there. He's getting put into a care home. And that breaks my heart. I'm like,
Well, if that's the case, we just really hope that there's the right staff's in it for him. And
he's not even that old. It's like, it's because he was put in there because younger ones were getting in, knowing what medication and all that he was getting, going in, stealing his medication and stuff. And I think that none of his family were really willing to take him in because he has a lot of work, but I didn't mind that. It kept my mind occupied as well. I think you need to, well, for me, I had to be kept occupied.
There's a selfishness through ignorance, isn't there? That I think, see these professions, we're talking about the surgeons and all these people that write us off. I wonder what happens. And we know the answer to this, don't it, when it lands in their plate, didn't it? When you've got the power, let's say, to do surgery, to give you treatment, to override the budget and stuff like that, isn't it? That is not the case. You're a human being on this planet. We're the only species on this planet, by the way, needs to pay to stay here, don't we?
I know.
I need to put this.
That's another thing.
It's, mate, do you know what it's like? It's like, I get told this last night, I get told this morning, I text to mention this. This wee philosopher, didn't we? That see when the clocks went back in October, we went back to 1939, didn't we? Think about it, we haven't we?
I don't know what that is.
No, but see when the clocks go back, pal. We went back to pre-war stages that we went back the way instead of progressively went forward. The progression in medicine for then to now, progression in therapy for then to now, and everything in life, they're taking away your right now to live. And it's getting to that stage. Yet you're still fighting, you're still now here, a tiny wee dot, a wee tiny fish in that giant ocean, fighting that battle across the board here, and we're still trying to put a message out.
Right, I think let's conclude. Again, just a massive thanks for coming into the green room today for Green Sunrise. You are Green Sunrise, man. That's exactly what you are. You're showing us how courageous you are. How beautiful you are as a person. You've showed your caring side. What do you want to happen from now? And I know it's a hard question, but what do you want to do? What do you need for it to happen?
Once you start in cleaning business. On you, so.
I just want to live.
I know.
I'm just desperate to live.
But don't stop, Maggie.
No, I'm not.
Don't stop. You don't give in this fight, pal. Because nobody's wrote, I've not wrote you off. Nobody's wrote you off. You get told something, but you've not been written off, pal.
Mm.
You haven't, pal.
You understand that you can phone us, contact us. And
This podcast is going out as magic, Maggie. It is, pal.
Yeah.
No, I really, really appreciate
The
it.
audience
Yeah,
is
Magic
going to
Maggie,
be here
indeed.
is going to call you wee Magic Maggie.
No, I feel really grateful, honestly, that you've contacted me. I mean,
Listen, it's you don't need to feel grateful. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And the people that's
Really.
listening in here, that's felt everything for you today, and hopefully the healthcare professionals and so on, and all these people that have put the negative bit across to you, some of these people that really are good at their jobs, take this on board and can hopefully bring it to somebody else's attention,
Yeah.
can probably write an email or say, look, you know
let's-
something, go and watch that and tell me how you feel. Go and watch that for the next 2.5 and then tell me how you feel now.
mm,
Because it's no scripted, isn't it, no, pal?
no.
None
it's
of
not.
this has been, you kind of had,
Mhm.
again, the breakdown, right, we'll talk about this and talk about that, and it's just all come out. And the message in here, wow, you've nearly had me greeting. I'll tell you, pal, and that's, we spoke about it earlier, innit? To get that emotion up has been dormant in, isn't it?
That is-
Right, so you going to come for something to eat with us before we take you up the road? You better get a wee drink, wee coffee or something like that before we take you home. You all right with that?
Aye, that's
We'll-
fine.
we'll-
aye.
I'll take you home and you know to pick up the phone if you want to talk. And we're going to contact you anyway. We'll
But
contact
see
you.
that, we spoke about it, didn't we? We spoke about this before. Can you identify with that? Does that resonate with you? It's easier said than done, and to pick the
Yeah.
phone up, isn't it?
It is.
People say, oh, just pick the phone up. But sometimes it does take, if we don't hear from you 2 or 3 days,
Aye,
we'll bet your donuts till you pick the phone up.
I need to give myself like a pep talk. Like,
Yeah.
You
do you know what I
did,
mean?
Yeah, I know.
To-
But you did that go away and all, didn't you? So you spoke about it, you shut
Aye.
the
No,
phone
we
off.
me and you spoke about it before we came in. We wanted structure. We wanted like questions that we knew we were going to ask you. And I think half the questions I've got in my pocket weren't even asked.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? So we just said, do you know what? Let's just breathe. Let's just go with the flow. Just timing is perfect.
Any of the trees you wouldn't be able to identify with picking up nothing if it wasn't coming out as clear as you've put it across. If it wasn't being
Yeah.
as blunt and honest as you've been. And I know, Paul, this what I spoke about, what Paul opened up with, you know this is going to drain you. But I hope this has to an extent, took a massive burden off your shoulders that you've actually, the strength you've had to speak about this, Paul, the day when
No,
you
thank
spoke
you
about
so
your
much.
ex-partner, that the biggest problem with males and the biggest problem with male suicide is they can't speak. You should be able to, shouldn't you, Paul?
Oh,
You
aye,
should be able
definitely. I
to.
think they need to feel like they're the strong ones.
Male or female, Paul,
Aye.
doesn't matter. Even for kids that you dealt with for that age, that trauma started for you, for that age, we should be able to speak up, and there should be somebody there to listen to us, shouldn't they?
Mm.
Well, be it adult or well, be it professional adult, whoever it is, because you're not saying it for no reason.
No.
That was I liked when you said that about the male thing. I've talked a lot about that on my podcast, but today is the first time I've met you, first time I've spoke to you, and I'm kind of when I do my own shows, I kind of like that when I meet somebody for the first time face to face on the screen, because it's raw, and although that's my thing, I'm not very emotional, like, and I got like, but your stories like hard hitting, and it when I just be us in the room today, people will listen, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people contacting you. But it's sad that this is what it's got to come to, that we and what's a hospital called again? But Beatsons,
Beatson, yeah.
they are doing such good work, but it's sad that it's got to be us, you know, the government, that we've harped on a lot about it, and I don't want that to be the underlying tone, because this is bigger than that. But we're all getting together, what Paul's doing, and we've got good visions for the podcast and getting numbers out and getting a community built. And to me, that's, if there's a chance, that's where the chance is, because as you can testify, it's not coming from elsewhere. It's a sad state. So
yeah, so that's all day. So we'll finish that today. Thank you again, Maggie, Magic Maggie. As Bob has christened you with that.
Wee Magic Maggie.
Wee Magic Maggie. Thank you so much for coming on, darling.
cheers.
And this
Thanks a
isn't
lot.
this isn't the last one. This will be just the first of many. Again, we're going to build a community of people, and you're going to help us build that and help other people as well as help yourself. So thank you so much, darling.
Thank
No,
you.
thanks
Love you
very
bits,
much
man.
for having me.
Guys,
you.
thank you very much
Maggie's
for
a
Thank
wee
you.
star.
thank you very much for watching this episode. Please subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, you want to contact us, let's talk.
By all means.
Let's collaborate. Let's help each other. Today, Magic Maggie has been Green Sunrise. Thank you so much, darling.
No, thanks very much for
Eh,
having me.
To keep doing what we're doing here is you've got a forum now, mate, to
Yeah.
keep spreading the message
Yeah.
to the masses.
Yep.
Awesome.
Let's get it shared. So please share this as well with your friends and family. If there's anything, if any of this has affected you and you want to talk about it, please contact us. You know where to get us.
But
Comment, wherever.
Send this to as many people, each person
Yeah.
that hears this, individually send this to as much people as you possibly can.
Yeah.
It'll put a light on somebody. It'll save somebody's life.
Yeah.
It'll take somebody out of a dark place. It'll make somebody that is in a position, a professional position, sometimes say, no, I'm not taking any more of this.
Yep.
No.
I am not taking any. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I trained up for.
Yeah.
And if one of them do it, and then there's so many other people that
Ripple effect.
somebody's got to take a stand. Because if they all decide it, what if your GP's all decided to come out, and your surgeons all decided to come out, your psychiatrist says, no, the people in the beach, so I'm going out strike for a month. Wow, Zen, pal. Do you know what I mean? Right.
Yep.
I know. So thank you, Bob, for that again. But Bob, you've been very instrumental in helping you feel relaxed. And again, thank you so much, mate. You're an absolute star. And thank you, a brother of mine as well. So thank you so much, mate, for this. But
like it.
thank you more so to you, Maggie.
No,
Absolute-
thanks very much for having me.
No, pal, we've seen, I mean, I didn't think you were nervous, pal, when you come in. I just think it was unknown, you thought. But
Aye.
I don't think you've faltered all the way through this talk, pal. Your voice is,
definitely.
pal, you've shown emotion, raw emotion. To what you spoke about, pal, and held it together has been phenomenal. But I know for a fact you've touched me, you've touched my heart, you've touched emotions in me. It's been stone cold, pal. The boys in here, the big man, I can see it, and I think every individual in here. If Maggie is what we spoke about in here today, hasn't touched any, he's a stone cold to it.
Aye. Well, I hope that'll not be the case. Definitely. So thank you very much, guys.
Thanks a lot.
And until next time, have an awesome day. Find your green sunrise and love you to bits. Thank you very much.
Thank you.